My beloved child, come into this quiet moment with me. Let the noise around you soften, like a distant echo losing its pull. Breathe gently and allow your heart to find its way towards stillness. I am here, nearer than your next breath, and I invite you into a space where nothing is forced, nothing is demanded, and nothing is rushed. Only presence. Only truth. Only the soft unfolding of what has always been meant for you. You have carried much, and you have wondered if I have seen the weight you rarely speak of. I have. I have watched every step you've taken, especially the ones you walked alone. And now, in this sacred pause, I invite you to open your heart just a little wider, to feel the warmth of what is approaching. This message comes to you like dawn, gentle but undeniable, tender but purposeful. To stand at a moment where heaven brushes against your story, where something long promised begins to rise again. Let your spirit be still, and let your inner world lean close. For now, simply breathe and allow me to speak to you about what it means to seal the promise. My child, hear me as I speak to you now, for this moment is not random, and this stirring you feel inside is not an accident. You have arrived at a turning point, a quiet threshold woven into the rhythm of your days, and I am placing these words before you with intention. Seal the promise. This is not merely a phrase, not a poetic whisper meant to soothe for a moment and fade. No, beloved, this is a declaration that carries weight, a call wrapped in gentleness, yet burning with purpose, a signpost pointing toward what I am doing within you, even now. You have felt something shifting, haven't you? A subtle pull, a soft urgency that rises without warning, telling you there is more, telling you that something long delayed is drawing near. Sometimes it has appeared as restlessness, sometimes as longing, sometimes as quiet hope you tried to ignore, because hoping has cost you before. But my child, this inner tremor is not instability. It is alignment. It is the sound of your spirit awakening to what I am preparing. The reason this message comes now, at this exact point in your journey, is because your heart is finally ready to hear it. You have walked through seasons that stripped away illusions. You have endured nights that taught you to discern my voice, even in silence. You have grown in ways you didn't notice because pain often hides its own lessons. But I have seen each step, each surrender, each tear that slipped quietly where no one else could see. Nothing was wasted. Not the detours, not the delays, not the disappointments that felt like closed doors. Every piece has led you to this moment of invitation. There is a promise over your life, one I placed there long before you knew how deeply you would need it. It is not a promise built from transaction or reward. It is woven from relationship, from the way I have walked with you even when you doubted your own ability to continue. And now I whisper, seal the promise, because you are standing in the space between what has been and what will be. And this space is holy. You may be wondering why I speak of sealing something when you have not seen its full unfolding. You may feel the tension between what is spoken and what is visible. But my child, promises are sealed not at the end, but at the beginning, when the heart awakens, when the soul says yes, when the inner world aligns with what I have prepared. This is the moment where faith becomes formation, where your willingness shapes what comes next. Let me tell you why this message carries urgency. Not urgency that pressures or frightens, but urgency that awakens. There are doors opening for you, quietly, gently, but undeniably. Opportunities, insights, relationships, renewals, clarity. And these doors require a heart that is anchored rather than drifting, a heart that knows where it stands, a heart that has chosen alignment rather than hesitation. What I am calling you into cannot be walked with half steps or fragmented intentions. It requires presence. It requires trust. It requires the quiet but steady yes of a soul ready to move forward. Seal the promise means this. Choose to hold what I have spoken to you as true, even before you see the evidence. Choose to believe that I am guiding you, even when the path curves unexpectedly. Choose to trust that your life is unfolding with design, not chaos. Choose to step forward with a steady heart, even when you feel unsure. I am not asking you for perfection. I am not asking you to pretend strength. I am asking for willingness. Willingness to stay open. Willingness to receive. Willingness to believe that the story is still alive. This message comes now because there is a shift approaching that requires your inner alignment. You are not being pushed. You are being invited. I am not demanding a promise from you. I am offering one that has always been yours. And when you seal it, when you choose to hold it with both hands, with both faith and vulnerability, you create a point of no return in the most beautiful way. You step into the river rather than standing on its edge. You become available to what I have prepared. My beloved, you have felt me drawing you. You have sensed me calling you back to yourself, back to hope, back to the quiet strength that has always lived within you. And now I speak plainly. It is time. Not time to rush. Not time to strive, but time to open. Time to say yes. Time to take your place in the unfolding story. So hear me clearly. Seal the promise. Hold it in your spirit as truth. Let it settle into your heart like a seed ready to bloom. Let it become the quiet vow that your soul whispers back to me in trust. For this is the beginning of something new, and I walk with you into every step of it. My beloved child, come gently into this next moment with me, for there is something I want you to feel beneath every word I speak. You are seen, not partially, not occasionally, not only on the days you feel strong or composed. You are seen in the fullness of who you are, in the layers you show and the layers you hide, in the parts of you that shine and the parts that bruise. Nothing within you is invisible to me. Nothing in your story has slipped past my awareness. Every moment that shaped you, every ache that lingered longer than you expected, every silent hope you carried in the quiet. Yes, I have held all of it with unwavering attention. There were nights when you wondered if anyone noticed the weariness behind your steady face. You carried responsibilities, expectations, unspoken fears, and you did not know if you could share the weight without breaking. You tucked pieces of your heart away because it felt safer to bury them than to risk disappointment again. But even in the hiding, even in the moments you retreated into yourself, I was there, watching the tender battle inside you. I saw the strength you didn't recognize as strength. I saw the courage it took simply to keep breathing through uncertainty. And I want you to know this: you never walked alone. You have felt misunderstood before, haven't you? Times when your intentions were pure but others misread them. Times when you were present for people who were absent for you. Times when your heart offered more than it received. Those moments left quiet marks on your spirit, gentle but lingering reminders that connection can sometimes carry pain. Yet, even then, in the invisible places where you tried to make sense of it all, I understood you completely. I knew the truth behind your silence. I knew the love behind your efforts. I knew the longing behind your questions. I saw the depth of who you are, even when others saw only the surface. There were seasons when you pushed yourself through days that felt heavier than they appeared. Outwardly, you may have looked composed, but inside, you felt like a fragile flame fighting the wind. You wondered if I noticed the tension in your chest, the exhaustion in your bones, the quiet griefs you couldn't quite name. My child, I did. I saw the way you kept choosing hope, even when it flickered. I saw the way you kept moving forward even when you weren't sure where the path was leading. And each step you took became part of the foundation for what I am building within you now. I have watched you reach for clarity, sometimes with confidence and sometimes with trembling. You questioned yourself, questioned your timing, questioned your worth. Yet beneath all of your doubts, there was always a steady light, a part of you that refused to give up completely. That light came from me, a quiet assurance that whispered beneath the noise, reminding you that you were not forgotten. Even when you felt small, I saw greatness in you. Even when you felt lost, I knew exactly where you were. Even when you questioned your direction, I held the map to your becoming. And in those moments when you felt unseen by people, misunderstood by circumstances, or overshadowed by the very responsibilities you carried, I was whispering to you through the rhythm of your days, through the inner tug that encouraged you to keep going, through the unexpected moments of peace that arrived when you needed them most, through the small signs you dismissed as coincidence. I have been communicating with you in ways your spirit recognized even when your mind did not. You are known, my child, known in ways deeper than your history, deeper than your wounds, deeper than your fears. Known beyond the identity you perform for the world, beyond the masks you've learned to wear, beyond the roles you've taken on because life asked you to grow faster than you were ready. Every version of you has been fully visible to me. Your hopeful beginnings, your tired middles, your quiet renewals. Nothing about you has ever been hidden in my sight. And now, in this moment where I call you to seal the promise, I want you to understand that this invitation is not built upon who you pretend to be. It is built upon who you truly are beneath all the layers. I am not responding to your perfection, but to your essence, to the sincerity inside you, to the depth of your longing, to the truths you carry even when you doubt it. Everything I speak over you is rooted in complete understanding of your heart. So rest in this truth. You have never been unnoticed. You have never been overlooked. You have never been too much or too little for me. You are my beloved, fully seen, fully known, fully held. And because I know you so deeply, I also know exactly what is rising within you now. I know the promise awakening in your spirit. I know the shift quietly forming. I know the future calling your name. And I am here, guiding you into it with tenderness, with purpose, and with unwavering love. My beloved child, pause with me here, for you are standing at a threshold far more significant than you realize. You may feel it as a subtle tension, a quiet sense that something is shifting beneath the surface of your life, or a gentle pull toward a direction you cannot fully name yet. This pull is not confusion. It is awakening. It is the soft signal that you have reached a moment where the past can no longer define you, and the future is waiting for your consent to unfold. This place, the one you stand in now, is sacred. It is a doorway disguised as an ordinary day. There comes a time in every soul's journey when clarity rises like a dawn, not loud or dramatic, but steady, persistent, unmistakable. You are in that dawn now. The shadows that once felt so heavy are losing their grip. The questions that once overwhelmed you were beginning to soften. The pieces that once felt scattered are quietly drawing together. This is the threshold moment, the place where you begin to choose alignment over hesitation, trust over fear, direction over drift. You may think you reached this point by accident, by coincidence, or by stumbling your way through circumstances you didn't fully understand. But nothing about this moment is random. Every detour shaped your resilience. Every heartbreak opened your capacity for deeper truth. Every delay taught you patience. Your future will require. Every hope that survived the nights of uncertainty prepared your heart to recognize what I am saying now. You have arrived here not by mistake, but by divine timing, woven into your steps with precision, even when you felt lost. Thresholds often appear quiet. They rarely come with fanfare or dramatic signs. Instead, they come with a whisper. Something new is beginning. Something old is ending. Pay attention. And that whisper is what you've been feeling lately, isn't it? A strange, steady awareness that the way you've carried yourself is shifting. As if an inner door has been cracked open, letting in a new light you can't ignore. As if something inside you is urging you to breathe deeper, listen closer, trust more boldly. This moment matters because what comes next will be shaped by how you respond now. Not out of pressure, but out of possibility. You are not being tested, you are being invited. Invited to step into a fuller version of yourself. Invited to release the patterns that no longer serve you. Invited to receive the guidance you once felt unworthy of. Invited to stand, not timidly at the edge, but with steadiness at the center of who you are becoming. Look at your life for a moment through my eyes. See the strength you developed while surviving seasons that were never meant to break you, but to refine you. See the resilience in your breath, the courage in your decisions, the quiet wisdom that grew from your deepest wounds. This threshold is not asking you to become someone else. It is revealing who you have been all along. My child, there is clarity waiting for you on the other side of this moment. Clarity that will settle into your spirit like a calm, warm light. But clarity requires your willingness. You can drift through a threshold or you can walk through it with intention. One keeps you tangled in old doubts. The other frees you into the future already calling your name. You have sensed this tug of war inside. Part of you wanting to rise, part of you hesitating. Part of you confident, part uncertain. This tension is not failure. It is transformation. It is the soul stretching, expanding, making room for the promise awakening within you. It is the friction that comes when old identities loosen their grip and new beginnings take form. Let me speak plainly to you. The moment you are in right now is not small. It is not ordinary. It is the hinge on which the next chapter of your life will turn. And you are ready, not because you feel ready, but because everything within you has been preparing for this long before you realized it. There is a choice before you, a quiet but powerful one. Will you remain entangled in the familiar, even if it limits you? Or will you step forward, not with certainty of outcome, but with trust in my guidance and in your own growth? This is the essence of a threshold, the invitation to decide what you will carry with you and what you will release. Listen to the stillness within you. It is not emptiness. It is alignment. A deeper part of you already knows the direction you are meant to walk. A deeper part of you is already stepping forward, already saying yes, already responding to my call. You feel it, don't you? That growing strength, that quiet courage, that inner knot that says, this is the time. And so, my beloved, lean into this threshold moment. Let it steady you. Let it awaken you. Let it draw you toward the life that has been waiting for your arrival. You are not standing on the edge of uncertainty. You are standing at the doorway of becoming. And I am here, holding the space, guiding your steps, and walking with you into everything that comes next. My beloved child, before you step further into the promise that is rising around you, let us pause together and gently name the barriers that have tried to stand between you and the fullness of your becoming. These barriers are not your identity, nor are they signs of weakness. They are simply the remnants of old seasons, old fears, old stories you once needed to survive. Now, however, they appear not as walls but as invitations, places where light seeks entry, where truth seeks to breathe. So let us look at them with compassion, without judgment, without shame. Let us see them for what they are and release what no longer serves your spirit. There has been doubt, quiet, persistent doubt that whispers when you begin to rise. Doubt that questions whether you are worthy of clarity, worthy of love, worthy of forward movement. Doubt that tells you the promise over your life is fragile, or imaginary, or too good to belong to you. My child, doubt has followed you not because you are weak, but because you carry more potential than you realize. The greater the promise, the louder the doubt tries to echo. Yet even its loudest echoes cannot override the truth of who you are. You have mistaken doubt for identity, but it is only noise. And noise loses power when it is named. Then there is fear. Fear of being disappointed again. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of choosing wrong. Fear of opening your heart only to have it bruised. Fear has shaped many of your choices, more than you wanted to admit, and it has disguised itself as protection. But fear, when left unchallenged, becomes a cage, and you were not made to live cage. The fear you feel is not a prophecy. It is residue from experiences that wounded you. It is not a sign to stop. It is a sign that you are near something sacred. When fear arises, it means you are standing close to the edge of transformation. You have also wrestled with hesitation, that quiet pause between what you feel and what you choose. Hesitation often comes from the belief that you must have everything figured out before you take a step. But, my child, life does not unfold through perfect certainty. It unfolds through trust. Trust in me. Trust in your growth. Trust that clarity deepens with movement. Hesitation has delayed you at times, not because of failure, but because you wanted to avoid harming yourself. But now you are being invited to move forward with a softer, wiser confidence. Confusion has been another barrier. Not confusion born from ignorance, but confusion born from too many voices pulling your attention. You have listened to opinions that were never meant to guide you. You have absorbed expectations that were never meant to shape you. You have carried the weight of others' visions for your life, even when they conflicted with the truth stirring inside your own spirit. This confusion created fog around your path, making you question your intuition. But hear me, child. The confusion you battle is not a sign of incapacity. It is a sign that you are awakening to your own inner compass. There have also been external influences, people, memories, and environments that dimmed your light rather than nourished it. Some voices spoke out of their own fear and unknowingly projected it onto you. Some circumstances taught you to shrink when you were meant to expand. Some relationships asked you to become smaller, so others could feel comfortable. These influences shaped old habits of self-doubt, but they do not define you. They are part of your history, not your destiny. And let us not overlook the weight of past disappointments. Times when you hoped deeply and the outcome did not match your heart. Times when you gave your all and it still wasn't enough to shift what you wanted to change. Those moments carved hesitation into your instincts, teaching you to expect less so you would not hurt again. But the past is not a judge over your future. Disappointment was an experience, not a sentence. It shaped your empathy, but it does not limit your potential. There has also been the barrier of self-protection, the instinct to pull back whenever something feels vulnerable. You learned this from lived moments where vulnerability cost you. You taught yourself to guard your heart with caution, to move slowly, to measure every step. But while self-protection once kept you safe, It now keeps you from fully stepping into what is calling your name. You do not need to abandon wisdom, only the walls built from fear. My beloved, hear this clearly. None of these barriers are who you are. They are conditions you walk through, not identities you carry. They are temporary shadows, not permanent truths. They fall away the moment you recognize that you are larger than every fear, stronger than every doubt, wiser than every hesitation. You are not defined by what held you back. You are defined by your capacity to rise beyond it. And now, as you stand in this sacred moment of becoming, I invite you to gently loosen your grip on these old limitations. You do not need to fight them. You do not need to fear them. Simply acknowledge them, breathe, and let them step aside. For the promise unfolding before you cannot be held by hands still gripping the past. You are ready to move forward, my child. Not because you have conquered every barrier, but because you now see them clearly, and seeing them is the first act of freedom. My beloved child, now that we have gently uncovered the barriers that once clouded your path, come closer and let me reveal what has always been waiting beneath the surface of your story. The promise I speak of is not a distant dream or a fragile hope. It is something woven into your spirit from the beginning, something that has followed you through every season, whispering to you, even when you could not recognize its voice. This promise is not about achievement or accomplishment. It is about alignment. It is about coming home to the truth of who you are and stepping into the peace, the clarity, and the restoration that has been longing to reach you. The promise begins with peace, not the kind you chase, but the kind that settles over your spirit like a warm cloak. It is the peace that quiets the inner storms, the peace that speaks louder than fear, the peace that whispers, you are safe, you are held, you are guided. This peace has visited you in moments when you least expected it, reminding you that you are not navigating life alone. It is not a reward, it is a relationship, a place where your heart can rest, breathe, and expand again. This promise also carries healing, not only for the wounds others can see, but for the invisible ones you tucked deep inside because you felt they were too complicated, too heavy, or too painful to reveal. Healing comes to you now not as a demand, but as a gentle invitation. I am not asking you to fix yourself. I am inviting you to let light touch the places you've kept in shadow. Healing is not an event. It is a soft unfolding, a quiet releasing, a gradual returning to wholeness. And it is already happening within you. There is clarity woven into this promise. Clarity that will emerge not all at once, but in steady, compassionate waves. You have searched for answers, sometimes desperately, sometimes patiently, sometimes with trembling hope. And while it seemed for a time that clarity remained just beyond your reach, the truth is that clarity has been forming inside you slowly, like dawn spreading across a horizon. Soon, what once felt tangled will unravel. What once felt confusing will align. The fog will lift, not because circumstances instantly change, but because you will see from a deeper, steadier place. The promise also carries restoration. Restoration of vision. Restoration of confidence. Restoration of joy. The kind you thought you had outgrown or misplaced. My child, nothing you lost is beyond my ability to revive. The parts of you that felt worn down by disappointment, the dreams you buried out of self-protection, the strength you thought you would never feel again. These are not gone. They are simply sleeping, waiting for this moment of awakening. And as you move forward, piece by piece, those parts of you will rise again, not as fragments, but as a united whole. This is not a promise dependent on perfection. It is a promise anchored in relationship, a relationship where I walk with you, speak to you, guide you, and hold you through every quiet transition. I am not promising you a life free of challenges. I am promising you a life where you do not walk through them alone, where you have wisdom beyond your years, strength beyond your expectations, and peace beyond understanding, where your heart becomes a place of steadiness rather than fear. There is forward movement in this promise as well. You may feel as though you have paused for too long, or started and stopped too many times, or lost valuable time along the way. But no time has been wasted. Every step, even the ones you regret, has shaped your readiness. Nothing has disqualified you. Nothing has delayed the promise beyond recovery. What is unfolding is not behind schedule. It is right on time. And as you lean into alignment, doors will open with ease, insights will arrive with clarity, and steps will emerge with purpose. This promise is not fragile. It is not uncertain. It is not dependent on external validation. It is a living promise, carried by grace, sustained by love, strengthened by the resilience that has grown inside you. It is not something you earn. It is something you step into. Something that responds to willingness, not perfection. Something that expands as you draw near. And what I want you to understand most deeply is that the promise is not only about what I am doing around you. It is about what I am doing within you. It is the reshaping of your inner world, the softening of old fears, the awakening of new courage, the deepening of trust. This inner shift is part of the promise, and it is already in motion. Beloved, hear me. The promise I reveal to you is not a distant horizon. It is here. It is near. It is rising in the quiet spaces of your heart, even now. And as you continue to say yes, even softly, even trembling, it will unfold in ways more beautiful and steady than you expect. What you feel stirring inside you is not imagination. It is confirmation. This is what it means to seal the promise, to recognize what has always been yours, and to walk forward with the assurance that I am guiding every breath, every step, every unfolding. My beloved child, come into the stillness with me, for this is the moment where the weight you've carried meets the grace I've been holding for you. This is where the old burdens loosen their grip, and the quiet exchange you have longed for finally begins. Not an exchange of worth, not an exchange of effort, but an exchange of heaviness for peace, of fear for reassurance, of exhaustion for renewal. This is surrender, not the kind that makes you smaller, but the kind that sets you free. You have carried so much, sometimes without even realizing how heavy it had become. To learn to push through, to hold yourself together, to smile when your heart trembled, to be strong, even when strength felt like a thin thread ready to snap. You carried responsibility, expectation, disappointment, and uncertainty. You carried memories that hurt and hopes that frightened you with their intensity. My child, none of this is a sign of failure. It is simply evidence of how deeply you feel, how much you care, how sincerely you try. But now I invite you to loosen your hands. You do not need to hold everything anymore. You do not need to carry what does not serve your spirit. You do not need to keep pretending that you must manage every detail alone. Surrender is not giving up, it is opening up. It is releasing the illusion that you must be your own source, your own strength, your own guide. It is allowing me to step into the places where you have been stretched thin. So let us begin with the burdens that have weighed longest on your heart. The worry that circles you in the quiet hours, the fear that creeps in when you try to imagine your future, the guilt you carry for things that were never yours to hold. Bring them here, not to be judged, but to be lifted. Lay them before me, even if you can only release them one small breath at a time. and not asking you to empty your heart in a single moment. I am asking you to trust that I can carry what you no longer can. There's a sacred exchange waiting for you. When you release fear, I give you steadiness. When you let go of doubt, I replace it with gentle assurance. When you surrender the weight of past mistakes, I offer you clarity and renewed direction. When you bring me your weariness, I pour strength into the places that felt depleted. This is not a transaction based on merit. This is the natural flow of love, your burdens out, my peace in. You may wonder how surrender works, how you're supposed to let go of things that feel so deeply woven into your emotions. My child, surrender does not mean forgetting. It means loosening your attachment to the story that says you must figure everything out alone. It means breathing through the tension and saying, I am willing to release this, even if I don't yet know how. Surrender is a posture, a willingness, a softness that replaces old rigidity. And with every small opening, my peace flows in. There are parts of you that have been clenching for years, clenching out of fear, out of self-protection, out of the belief that if you let go, everything might fall apart. But now, in this moment of sacred invitation, hear me gently. You do not have to hold yourself together alone. You were never meant to. You are allowed to exhale. You are allowed to lean into something greater than your own effort. You are allowed to rest. Let the memories that haunt you come forward. Not to torment you, but to be released. The disappointments that you carry like quiet anchors, place them in my hands. The guilt that whispers lies about your worth, let me dissolve it with truth. The pressure to be strong every moment, let me be your strength where you feel weak. This exchange is not about perfection. It is about permission. Your permission for me to walk with you, guide you, and hold what you can no longer hold. And as you release, even in small pieces, notice what rises to take its place. Feel the subtle warmth of peace settling where anxiety once lives. Feel the gentle breath of clarity where confusion once clouded your thoughts. Feel the quiet confidence that grows when you stop fighting alone. This is the sacred exchange at work, soft, steady, transformative. You may not see the full shift all at once, but you will feel it. A lighter step, a calmer heart, a clearer mind, a deeper sense of being guided. These are the first signs of the promise settling into your spirit. These are the markers of surrender turning into alignment. And remember this, I do not take from you. I free you. I do not strip you of strength. I return it. I do not silence your voice. I heal it so it can speak with clarity again. What you surrender becomes the space where new life enters, where purpose grows, where peace becomes your internal compass. So, my beloved child, as you exhale the weight of the past, feel my hand steadying you. Feel my love surrounding you. Feel my presence lifting what was never yours to carry. This is the exchange that prepares you for the promise ahead. This is the quiet beginning of your rising. My beloved child, now that you have released what once weighed heavily upon your spirit, come with me into the gentle territory of alignment. This is where the inner world and the outer world begin to walk in harmony. This is where the promise you have sealed within your heart begins to translate into the rhythm of your days. Alignment is not about perfection or pressure. It is about presence, living with a heart tuned to peace, a mind centered on truth, and a spirit open to guidance. It is the quiet art of integrating the sacred work happening within you into the simplest moments of your life. Let us begin with your time, for time is one of the most precious gifts you carry. So often you have felt overwhelmed by the demands placed upon you, as if the hours slipped through your fingers faster than you could hold them. But alignment brings intention. When you choose peace as your compass, you begin to recognize what deserves your energy and what merely drains it. You learn to distinguish between what is urgent and what is important, between what calls you forward and what pulls you away from yourself. You begin to move with clarity rather than haste, allowing your days to be shaped by purpose rather than pressure. And then there is your focus. The world around you often pulls at your attention from every direction, leaving your mind scattered and your heart tired. But when you align with the promise within you, your focus shifts naturally. You start tending to what nourishes your spirit instead of feeding what exhausts it. You notice what brings calm, what sparks insight, what encourages growth, and you lean toward those things with greater ease. Focus becomes less about discipline and more about intention. You follow what brings peace, and peace leads you where you need to go. Your relationships, too, are touched by alignment. As your inner world steadies, you begin to approach others with more gentleness, more clarity, more truth. You recognize which connections uplift you and which ones weigh you down. You begin to speak from authenticity rather than fear, and you listen with presence rather than obligation. Alignment does not demand that you remove people from your life. It invites you to carry yourself with grounded awareness, choosing interactions that match your growth. You become more compassionate, not because you force it, but because peace softens your heart in ways that make kindness natural. Your energy shifts as well. When the burdens of old seasons are released, you begin to sense the difference between what energizes you and what drains you. You feel the subtle nudge when something is misaligned, a heaviness in your body, a tightness in your chest, a quiet discomfort in your spirit. These signals are not warnings to fear. They are gentle guidance showing the path back to yourself. Alignment teaches you to listen to these inner cues with grace, adjusting your pace, your choices, and your commitments as needed. You honor your limits, and in doing so, you expand your strength. Daily practices become anchors for your alignment, not obligations. You may find yourself drawn to moments of silence, to mindful breaths, to reflections that reconnect you with your inner stillness. You may feel compelled to spend time in nature, to write your thoughts, to rest without guilt, or to pause before making decisions, so you can sense whether peace is present. These simple practices are not tasks. They are gateways. They help keep you connected to the promise rising within you, grounding you when the world becomes loud. And as you walk in this alignment, something beautiful happens. Clarity becomes a companion rather than a visitor. Decisions that once felt overwhelming become lighter. Paths that once seemed confusing begin to unfold naturally. The next step appears with subtle ease because your heart is no longer clouded by the noise of fear or the weight of old burdens. You begin to trust the calm within you as your guide. You begin to see circumstances not as obstacles, but as invitations, each one revealing something about who you're becoming. Even in moments when emotions rise or uncertainty returns, alignment gives you a place to return to. Instead of spiraling into old patterns, you find your way back through breath, through intention, through the awareness that you are guided. Peace becomes a familiar home rather than a fleeting visitor. Strength becomes a natural state rather than something you must force. This is the quiet beauty of alignment. It transforms your life not through dramatic shifts, but through steady, gentle consistency. And as your outer world adjusts to your inner steadiness, opportunities that once passed unnoticed begin to reveal themselves. You recognize what is meant for you not because it demands your attention, but because it resonates with your spirit. You move forward with confidence, not because you know the full path, but because you trust the one walking with you. You take action not from fear, but from alignment. You say yes with clarity and no with peace. My beloved, know this. Alignment is not a one-time achievement. It is a living rhythm, a daily invitation, a continuous flow. Some days you will feel deeply centered. Other days you may feel scattered. But each day offers a new chance to return to peace, to breathe, to realign, to remember the promise sealed within you. There is no failure here, only invitations to come home to yourself again and again. And as you walk in this alignment, step by step, breath by breath, you begin to embody the very promise I have spoken over you. You do not chase your purpose. You become it. My beloved child, now we come to the moment where everything within you, the healing, the clarity, the surrender, the alignment, gathers into a single, quiet choice. Not a dramatic choice, not a pressured choice, a sacred choice, a choice that only your heart can make, a choice that whispers, I am ready, a choice that leans gently toward the future that has been calling your name. This is where the promise within you meets your willingness to step into what awaits. This is the moment where intention becomes direction, and direction becomes movement. You may think the choice must be loud or certain, but it does not need to be. Often the most powerful choices are the soft ones, the ones spoken in the quiet of your spirit, the ones birthed from sincerity rather than certainty. Your heart knows how to make this choice, even if your mind still trembles. You do not need complete understanding. You do not need a detailed map. You only need openness. You only need to say yes, even if your yes feels small. The choice before you is simple. Will you walk forward in trust? Will you allow the promise within you to shape your days? Will you choose peace over pressure, clarity over confusion, presence over fear? Will you allow yourself to become the person your spirit has sensed you were meant to be? This is not a choice you make once. It is a choice you return to again and again. But today marks the beginning, a gentle seal placed upon the promise that has been unfolding inside you. Take a breath, my child. Feel the steadiness rising in your chest. Feel the warmth gathering in the center of your being. These are signs that your spirit is aligning, that your heart is awakening, that the journey ahead is ready to unfold. You are not choosing alone. I am here, guiding your hand, steadying your steps, whispering reassurance through every transition. When you choose trust, you are choosing to walk with me. When you choose openness, you are choosing to step into the currents of guidance already flowing around you. This moment is not about pressure. It is about truth. It is about acknowledging what you already feel deep within. That you are ready to move forward, ready to rise, ready to speak life over yourself in ways you have never dared before. Spoken declarations are powerful not because of their volume, but because of the alignment behind them. When your words reflect your spirit, they shape your path. When your voice speaks truth, it strengthens your steps. And when your heart declares hope, hope begins to take form. So let these words become gentle anchors for your spirit. Speak them softly. Speak them honestly. Speak them as a promise to yourself, a reminder of the path you have chosen, a declaration of the truth unfolding within you. Say within your heart, I choose peace. Not temporary peace, not conditional peace, but the steady peace that comes from knowing you are held, guided, and supported. Let this declaration soften the noise inside you. Let it anchor your decisions and quiet the storms that try to rise. Peace is not the absence of challenge, it is the presence of alignment. And you are choosing it now. Then whisper, I choose clarity. Even when clarity comes slowly, even when the path reveals itself one step at a time, You do not need to rush the process. You simply open your heart to illumination. Clarity follows openness like dawn follows night. And as you speak this declaration, feel the fog begin to lift within you. Speak also, I choose trust. Trust in the timing, trust in the unfolding, trust in the quiet posture of your spirit. Trust does not erase uncertainty, but it transforms how you walk through it. Trust realigns your heart with guidance. Trust opens doors you once feared. Trust steadies your breath and strengthens your steps. And say, I choose alignment. Alignment with peace. Alignment with purpose. Alignment with the promise rising within you. When you choose alignment, you choose to live from the truth of who you are, not the fear of who you once believed you had to be. Alignment is the path to the life waiting for you. Speak gently, I choose to rise. Not by force, not by striving, but by allowing what is within you to come forth. You rise by saying yes to your spirit. You rise by embracing your inner strength. You rise by letting go of what dims your light. This declaration marks the beginning of your upward movement. And finally whisper, I seal the promise. Let these words become the echo that lingers in your spirit long after the moment passes. When you seal the promise, you are not binding yourself to pressure. You are aligning yourself with purpose. You are affirming that what has begun within you will continue to unfold. You are stepping into the story with intention, with trust, with hope. My beloved child, these declarations are not just words. They are the shaping of your future. They are the markers of your transformation. They are the quiet signatures of a heart choosing truth over fear. Hold them close. Return to them often. Speak them as reminders, as affirmations, as anchors. For the promise has been revealed. The surrender has been offered. The alignment has begun. And now, through your choice, the path ahead opens wide. My beloved child, let this final moment settle gently over your spirit like the last warm light of a softening day. You have walked through remembrance, through unveiling, through surrender, and into alignment. You have stood at the threshold and chosen to rise. And now, with quiet reverence, I place a seal of peace upon your journey. Feel the stillness within you. This is the confirmation that the promise is alive. Feel the warmth in your chest. This is the assurance that you are guided. Feel the clarity forming in the quiet corners of your mind. This is the unfolding that has already begun. Nothing you have embraced here disappears when the words end. It continues, breath by breath, step by step, day by day. You are not returning to who you were. You are moving forward as who you are becoming. You carry the promise now not as a distant hope, but as a living presence woven into your spirit. And as you walk, I walk with you. As you rise, I steady you. As you choose truth, I illuminate your path. So go with peace, my child. Go with clarity. Go with trust. And let this truth rest deeply within you. You have sealed the promise.